So, hopefully, we will be live any moment now. Oh, and there's not even too much of a lag today. Whoa! So I hope you're all keeping reasonably well. I am getting there slowly, but I am having to take life a little bit gently. But yes. Hello, cat. Oh, sorry, I'm just having some tea. Hello, Claire. Hello, Nora. Gosh, you're prompt. Oh, I hope everyone's keeping well. We've got really weird weather here today, so if it suddenly sounds like we're in the middle of a, I don't know, storm, shell, I don't know, anyway, shingle being thrown at us, it's probably because in amongst the sunshine we have got hailstone. So that's going to be fun. But I'm looking forward to warmer days by using the sweet ice cream set today and the matching papers. It's also going to be a bit of a tutorial on prepping stuff. Hello, Veronica from South California, I'm guessing. Cal? Is SoCal South California? I'm guessing. There is also, I can hear it, you may not be able to, there's also some bipping. Hello, Una. There is also some bipping in the background because the works have started on building in the field opposite us, and they're in the process of taking down a barn, which is involving reversing of large vehicles quite a lot, and lots of beep, 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 beep. Hello, Teresa from Florida. Gosh, we're covering the world today. Right. So as people are beginning to join, as I say, I'm using the sweet ice cream and the associated bits and pieces today. I have yet to ink this up. This was one of the stamp sets that got caught up in our customs problems. So didn't arrive for quite a long time after I ordered it. But so I'm going to show you how I prep my stamps, which I know I do cover every now and again. But I'm going to show you a proper how to prep your stamps. And then we're going to make some cards, probably 2. Haven't actually planned it that precisely. Life doesn't allow me to do things like that at the moment, so that's good. Anyway, let me flip the camera down and go picture in picture. And I will also use this opportunity just to remind you that this is a YouTube live. So if you're watching it live, there should be live in the top left-hand corner of your screen. If there isn't, then you're probably watching the replay. I do try and retitle the live so that it says replay, but YouTube doesn't always let me do it quite as promptly as I would like to. So let me just get the inks out of the way. I've got quite a nice selection of the colours to use today. This is Petal Pink, it's a bit faded. So Petal Pink, Bumblebee, Terracotta Tile, Cinnamon Cider and Pool Party are the inks that I may or may not be using. Let me just show you the papers, which are gorgeous. So we've got lots of these ones with what I would only describe as splodges. So we've got 3 of those. So we've got one that is Blackberry Bliss and those sorts of tones. Then Bumblebee and Terracotta Tile, I'm thinking, with a bit of Cinnamon Cider possibly thrown in there for good measure. And then this one is Old Olive, Pool Party, Bermuda Bay, those sorts of tones. There may even be some soft sea foam in there as well. So those are what I would, as I say, what I would call the splodges. And then on the back we've got Blackberry Bliss, Terracotta Tile, Old Olive. And then on the more pictorial ones, we've got various ice creams, ice lollies. I think you call these popsicles in the States. We call them either a drink or on a stick or an ice lolly. And then these would be ice creams. And then on the reverse, again, we've got just some patterns. So we've got these lovely sprinkles. This, which you can use with the matching punch to make your cone. for your ice cream, and then this wonderful stripe. So those are our papers. There is also so as well as the stamp set, there's the punch, which punches out these two shapes here. Remember when you get a new punch to punch it through some waste paper, waste cardboard to begin with, because there's an oil on it, so you want to get that oil off before you use it in anger. There are ice cream corner sprinkles, which are gorgeous, and I'm hoping they will stick on nicely with the multi-purpose glue, but I haven't used this sweet yet. And then the stamps. Now, prepping stamps. I know some of you will already know this, but let me just get those out of the way. I will read you the full list of colours in a moment. So what I tend to do when I get a new set of photopolymer stamps is I grab either the back of my hand or what I would call a white eraser. So one of these really nice, oops, they bounce quite well as well. One of these really good quality erasers. This is very old. It's made by Maped, M-A-P-E-D, I think. Don't know if they're still made, but it's just a white eraser. And I just go over the surface of the stamp to take off any of the film that was put on there in the processing. You get a sort of white, it stops being so clear and starts becoming whiter, but just rub that, and then what I would do, get rid of a bit of plastic. What I will then do is clean these to take off any of the residual eraser. But otherwise, particularly with the solid images, not that these are solid, these are what I will call pixelated, so they're like a newspaper picture. If you use a solid stamp without prepping it, it may be a bit fuzzy excuse me, when you first use it. So that's why I just do this every time and literally just rub over, or use the back of my hand or the palm of my hand, but just something just to rub the finish off. Alternatively, you can just ink up all your stamps and then stamp with them a couple of times and clean it, and that will help as well. So I'm just going to get a bit of chamois and just clean that off, so if there's any eraser left on there it should disappear. A bit more plastic. The plastic is there because they did take a month to arrive, and I have to say that I think UPS probably played football with them. Nothing was too badly damaged, but there were quite a few that were, should we say, less pristine than they might have been. Just need a drink to ease my throat a bit. So the colours are Bermuda Bay, Blackberry Bliss, Bumblebee, Cinnamon Cider, Old Olive, Petal Pink, Pool Party, Purple Posy, which of course we don't have an ink pad for. We have a marker, but we don't have an ink pad. So Saffron, So Soft Seafoam, Terracotta Tile, and Whisper White. Now, if you have got, and you're in Europe, if you have got the ink pads for the 2019-2021, those re-inkers should be in the store by the end of March. And the 2020-2022 are coming in any day now. I have already got Bumblebee and Magenta Madness re-inkers. I managed to find that half-hour window when you could order them. So yes, they are coming. I would highly recommend checking every now and again. Hi Judith. Checking the online store every now and again just to see if and when they are in, because they're going to go pretty quickly. Nothing quite like not being able to get re-inkers for over a year. Right, but we're getting there. Okay, so I've got one lot of the papers, and what I thought would be fun is actually to not use the stamps instantly, but to build some ice creams using the splodges, so using these, and also using this paper. So what I'm going to do, I will be using some of the paper as a background, but what I'm going to do is start off by getting my punch and just popping my paper in and punching a cone, so we've got somewhere to start. So that is going to be our cone, and then from this I'm going to punch rather some of the ice cream tops. Hello Debbie from Michigan and Sherry. Hello, hello. So yes, we're using the ice cream suite. So let's see, what colour ice cream do I fancy? Might go, I want something that's sort of on the edge. That might be big enough. Yeah, so we're going to have some pistachio. So I'll have a bit of that. Then we will have, let's see, I think we might go for one of the, I think that's probably terracotta tile. Sorry, my scissors are getting all in a pickle. Don't think that's going to be quite big enough. So let's go. Can't decide where to go. I don't think that's going to be big enough either. Let's go in here. And I'm deliberately not looking at the other side, so I don't worry about what's on the other side and what I'm cutting into, because otherwise I'm going to get all worked up about it. And then from this, we can either do something like this, or I think I'm going to go really dark. Is that going to be deep enough? No. Let's go here. That will work. The thing with patterned paper, which we often forget, is that you can always buy more. Which, you know, it's worth remembering. You can buy more. That said, the new annual catalogue is due out on the 4th of May. So if you are a customer, that's when you can order from the new annual catalogue. Before then, right, so I'm just attaching my paper to a post-it note so I've got something to hold on to. Before then, we will get to see the new annual catalogue as demonstrators, and we'll also get to look at what's retiring from the annual and from the January to June mini catalogue. Because the January to June mini catalogue, as you can imagine from calling it the January to June, is with us until June. So we will know what's carrying over from the mini catalogue quite soon. But I doubt very much if there will be any papers carrying over. There may be. Generally speaking, papers do not carry over. I'm not saying they never do, but generally they don't. Hello Loretta from Prince Edward Island in Canada. So yes, if you want any papers, I strongly recommend that you get them sooner rather than later. Right, so I'm going to pile this up onto, not that order, onto my ice cream, and I will then prettify it. But I'm going to start with a piece of pattern paper, and I think I might go for the sprinkles. So, and I'm actually going to cut a piece that is going to be the length of my card, but not quite as wide. So I've got a Whisper White card base here, which is what I'm going to use. Ooh, and I know what I could do. I could put a little bit of one of the others down the side. So I'm just going to make sure that's sort of straight. So we've got that. Let's see what else I can use. Oh, I think we'll use the Blackberry Bliss. So I'm going to put some Blackberry Bliss down the side of my pattern paper, and to do that, you've seen me do this before. I'm going to grab a piece of tear and tape. Let's get rid of the stamps because we're not actually using them just yet. So I'm going to grab a piece of tear and tape, and let's get rid of some of this. And I'm going to add this to the back of my pattern paper so that it's just in from the edge, and then just tear that off, and then with my trimmer I'm going to have it the right way up, which is the wrong way up. I'm going to cut that down the middle of that tape, so it's going to be roughly 1/8 of an inch because the tape is 1/4 of an inch, and then we can use these down the side of our patterned paper just to finish that off, give it a bit of a margin between the two papers. So that's that. So this, now I know that the width of my card in the UK is 10.5 centimetres. This is 5.5. So in the US it would be 8.5, 4.25 width for your full width. So you're slightly wider than we are. So I'm going to cut this. Normally I would come in, so normally it would be there. I'm going to come back to, well, I might even go a bit further back. I'm going to come back to, I think, 3.25 inches, which is 8.2 centimetres. So we're going to have that strip down the middle of our card. And then we're going to have the Blackberry Bliss diagonal either side. So, let me, I am going to use glue, which is a rarity for me on paper. It's not unheard of, but it's got the nice slippage. So that actually is a plus. Now, we're talking a tiny difference, certainly in the UK or outside of North America. We've only got about 1/4 of an inch overhang, so I need to make sure my glue comes inside that 1/4 of an inch, so it's not gluey over the 1/4 of an inch. Does that make sense? I hope I'm not just waffling for waffle's sake. My brain is a bit post-COVID, but I don't think it's quite that bad. So let's pop this so that it's in the middle of some grid lines. So there is some vague hope of me getting this square. So because I know this is a 1/4, so it's cut to 1/4 inch width, I know that if I've got this straight and I've got it there and there on a line, then this side also needs to be on a line, so that this is straight. I hope that made sense. So there is our pattern paper, and then for this I'm going to pop this down the side, and again I'm going to have it overhanging, but that's going to go down the side just so that there's an edge, so it kind of finishes it off nicely. So let's just see if I can get to the end of my tear and tape up. Yes, I can, just about. So that, I've done this on with foil quite regularly, so you may have seen me do it with foil. Just need to get that lined up there, and then just literally butt it up against this paper. Now I prefer to do this than cut a wider piece, stick that down, and then stick my pattern paper on top, and there's a reason for that. This is smooth. If I had this, so if I'd cut this at 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch wide, if I did this, there would be a dip, and I don't like that. That's just my personal choice because I'm a bit of a, you know, that's a bit just me-ish. I'm actually going to use this end because the tape is nearer to the end. So, come on. Gonna have to get a pokey. There we go. So again, I'm coming right up to the top of the card and abutting the designer series paper. And just getting that as close as it is possible to get to that. Hi Teresa from California. So that's what we've got, and then we've got this little bit overhanging on the back, so we can just trim that from the back. Much easier to trim from the back than the front because you've got something to push against. And then we've got those two little bits that have got adhesive on, and then the piece that hasn't got adhesive on. So there we go. So that is our card front. That's the top, that's the bottom, just so that I make sure I get it the right way up. So I'm going to start building the ice cream. So we're going to go that, and that. And these I'm going to have popped up a bit. Just can't quite decide. Or am I? Definitely not going to pop up my cone. So let's get that down. Hello Marie from the Netherlands, and I've said hello to Teresa from California, I think. So yeah, I'm just going to stick this down. I just want a bit of dimension, that's the thing. So this I'm going to pop kind of in the middle-ish. Then I'm going to have Blackberry Bliss. I'm just thinking if I have that there, then that's... Not convinced I'm going to be doing... I might just do the top one. Otherwise we're going to get all lumpy. And I don't like lumpy. So that one first, and they can be at, you know, slightly jaunty angles. They don't have to be square. I think they probably are better at slightly jaunty angles. And then this one I'll stick down there and on a dimensional on top. And I did have a sheet of dimensionals open. Now because it's only paper, I'm going to put two dimensionals on, because we could otherwise end up with it bending a bit. So I'm going to have two dimensionals, and then I'll pop some adhesive onto the bottom. So adhesive just here. So we've just got the two dimensionals and the adhesive. I know it's lovely, Marie, but this is the first time I've broken it out. It's the first time I've broken this sweet out, which is kind of naughty. So there we are, no stamping at all just done with the punch. But of course we need to have some stamping as well. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. So I'm going to grab, I need a different, oh no, we could do that. I can't decide whether to use terracotta tile or Blackberry Bliss. I'm erring towards Blackberry Bliss. So let's grab Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to prep my stamp before then, because I don't want my stamp to end up completely stained the first time. So I'm just using some Versamark, and I've got some scraps of Whisper White. So let's get rid of that because I don't need that on here. So my Blackberry Bliss ink pad, ink up my stamp, and stamp that down. close my Blackberry Bliss because I definitely don't want to get a cream jumper in it. Hello, Cindy from Texas. Always struggle to open a new pack. Yeah, I do as well. Opening a new pack of paper is just, it's not possible. But once you've opened it, you can use it all and then order some more. So that has kept my stamp, because I put the Versamark on first, it's kept my stamp from staining too much. I mean, I will, eventually it will end up bright pink. Life happens. But to begin with, I do try and protect my stamps. So they still stamp perfectly adequately. It's just a bit pink. So I'm going to fussy cut this because that's just the kind of girl I am. I'm not going to go, you know, mad over this. I'm just going to do the biggest dips a little. But I do want it to be obviously fussy cut. And you will see, and I know for those of you who watch me regularly, I say this every time, keep the scissors still and move the card. And this is actually a really good font to show that on because it is, there's a lot of twisting and turning. And literally all I'm doing with the scissors is opening and closing them. And I mentioned, I think it was earlier in the week, my brain is definitely COVID fogged, that if you struggle with where to fussy cut, draw around it. Yes, Marie. Back in my days when I used to do a lot of scrapbooking, you know, you get those wonderful, you could get single sheets of paper and some of them would be amazing, and I remember some of them were very expensive, and I would get one to cut and one to stroke. I'm less naughty about that these days because obviously I get a discount because I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator. And it's my business. So for me, actually, there's no point in having pattern paper that isn't current because, I mean, I do some crafting that isn't work, but not a huge amount, and I'd rather have current stuff so that I know I'm using current stuff and don't grab something thinking, oh, that's pretty, and then discover it retired 2 years ago. Now that was a little bit close to the top of that B. It's fine, but it was a little bit closer than I would have liked. Now I am just going to get rid of that because that's annoying me now. But you'll notice I cut it away further back than where I'm cutting because then you're less likely to get a sharp cut. And the whole point of fussy cutting is to be smooth. Now I'm not going to go all the way into the H. What I am going to do is that, because that's annoying me now. And by annoying, I mean it's beginning to catch my hand. I have to say, when it comes to pattern paper, I am with Kylie Bertucci in Australia. Love it, chop it. Once you cut into the paper, you're more likely to use it. Yes, I'm basically happy with that. So those bits are definitely rubbish. I might get something out of that. So there is my sentiment. Lost my card there for a moment. And then this is just going to pop here, and then we are going to put some sprinkles on. Now, am I going to be able to use large? No, I think, actually that will go there. I'm going to use a mix of large and mini dimensionals. If you don't have mini dimensionals, it's not the end of the world. You can always cut your large dimensionals into pieces. I thought I had an open pack, but never mind. Clearly don't. So, and do remember, please use the edges. Edges is good. So all of this is usable, so use it. Right, that should be more than sufficient. Oh, I redid my nail varnish this morning, and I did put a top coat on, but I need to put another layer on, I think, because I'm beginning to get scuff marks off my nail varnish, which is not good when you want white card to stay white. So there's our happy birthday. Oh, there's a thought. Right, so there is, with sprinkles on top as a sentiment. So I'm thinking that we can grab this block, which needs a jolly good clean, and then the same inks. Glad you and hubby are feeling a little better. Sorry. I know, it's been a fairly crappy month, frankly. And we are getting better. What the danger that we've got at the moment, and I said this to hubby earlier today, and I didn't mean this, I was blaming him, because he came down with COVID just at the point where I was over the worst but still not well. It meant that I started looking after him rather than looking after myself. And as I say, I mean that in the nicest way. So I'm just going to stamp with sprinkles on top on the inside of our card, like that. And I may put some sprinkles in there as well in a minute. But it meant that because I was looking after him, and I have no problem with that, but it meant I couldn't look after myself. So I think I probably did too much too soon, because there was no choice, frankly. So he's actually now, having been much iller than I was, he's actually now probably recovering quicker. But I'm struggling, I have to say. So when we finish here, I will probably go and have a sleep, which is something I don't do. Right, so sprinkles, and sprinkles. So I'm going to start by sticking some of these on the outside, and I'm going to just dot. This is where I hope this works, because I haven't tried it. I'm going to dot some multi-liquid glue onto my ice creams, and I'm going to have 5 on each because I do love an odd number. And I'm going to leave those for a little bit, not long, but just a tiny weeny bit. And whilst they're doing their thing, I am going to grab terracotta tile, bumblebee, and actually no, I'm going to take out terracotta tile and go petal pink. So all I'm doing with these is just letting them dry just to start drying. And what I'm going to do is get rid of some blocks, would always be a plan. Ink up my sprinkles and just add sprinkles over the top. Now I'm just stamping my sprinkles off. Thank you, Beverly. And thank you, Sophie. So that's that. Then we'll go pool party. Of course, the key now is to not drop that down. So, pool party, and again, I'm just stamping off the ink because life's too short to clean stamps. And bumblebee. So we've got sprinkles on top. I will bring that up so you can see it better in a moment, assuming I remember. So let's clean that by stamping off. So now let's pop the lid on the pokey bit, and what I'm going to do, fingers crossed that this works, guys, is, yeah, sort of. It does work, it's just getting them off the putty. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end off, because the end works really well as a spatula, because it is a spatula. So it then means you can do that, So these are not all the same size. They're all the same diameter, but they're not all the same depth. I should add, oops, I should add that I've only just exposed a new bit of the putty, so it's very sticky. And I've stuck that down the wrong way up, but never mind. Let's have Purple Posy. So yes, this is very, very, very sticky at the moment. Let's have another yellow one. The other thing that you could use on here is, although they're a little larger, the resin dots from Playing with Patterns, which is in the annual catalogue. So just to keep that in mind. So I've actually used far too much glue, is part of my problem, but it's fine. Ooh, that might be the trick. Pick it up from the side, but preferably only one at a time. There we go. So I'm actually just laying them down, and then I can go back in, hopefully, and press them down properly. I will show you this in a moment. Yeah, the trick seems to be not to pick them up too near the centre. Preferably only pick up one at a time. Another yellow one, I think. Yeah, apparently not. Come on. There we go. Right, so now I can go back in and just make sure that those are flat. Now the glue that squishes out the sides will dry clear, so that's fine. And obviously you could also use these for a shaker if you so desire. So that's our first card done. Let me just put the lid on those before they go everywhere. So let me bring that up. I just want to make sure that we're in camera. Just about. So that's our first card. So it's got a bit of dimension at the top. And then on the inside we've got with sprinkles on top. So there we are. That's our first card. Right, the second one is not going to use the paper or the stamps. Well, it will, but not completely. So I'm going to show you something else that you can do with your punch. So I've got Purple Posy, Pool Party, Soft Sea Foam and Petal Pink. So I'm using the right colours, as 'twere. So one might actually need to do 5. So I'll have to grab another colour. I'm trying to think which of the other colours won't be too loud, as in dark. So Bumblebee. Ah, so saffron. Yay! Scrap of so saffron. There we go. Right. Ooh, and I've just had another thought. Love it when my brain actually starts functioning like a brain. So there we have our things. I'm just thinking, what will happen if... Thank you. I'm glad you like the cards. I'm thinking... Yeah, that works. Right. Apart from the fact we don't have Pool Party, but we do have Highland Heather. So I need... I've got Pool Party. I've got Petal Pink. I need Highland Heather, So Saffron and Soft Sea Foam. Soft Sea Foam, So Saffron, Highland Heather. Because what I want to do, grab a scrap. My God, that's a scrap and a half. Okay, so what I want to do, and I'm going to use the same method of cleaning my stamps, but I'll show it to you this time. So what I'm going to do is ink up my cone bit and just towards the bottom, just stamp tone on tone. And then I might just see, can I? Will that? Yeah, I'm going to anyway. Whether it does or not, I'm going to. I'm also going to turn it over. There we go. So I've got a bit of a pattern, and then clean my stamp off. So that's that one. Let me grab soft sea foam because that's quite pale. So right towards the bottom, and then actually what I think I'll do is come in from the top and then the side. So again, we've got an all over pattern. It's a bit of an abstract, but it just breaks up the flatness of the card. Highland Heather, which I will stamp off first, because obviously Highland Heather is quite a lot darker than Purple Posy. So yeah, just once we'll bring it down to Purple Posy or thereabouts. So that's 1, 2, 3. So that's Purple Posy. Clean the stamp. I have to say the list of inks for this is going to be quite long, but there we go. I will be sharing this on my website probably tomorrow, maybe, where are we, Friday, maybe Saturday morning, and of course on Saturday morning UK time, 10 o'clock, quite early for you guys in the States, I will be on live again. And last but no means least, pool party. So there we go. And then actually clean my stamp this time, if I can find my chamois, which is fairly well buried. So that is now clean, so it can go back in the pack. Right, so what I want is, what have I got in my top folding? Hi Monica. Gosh, it's early for you, Monica, as well. Haven't got any of the right colours there, that's fine. I have got some thick Whisper White out because I thought we might be like that. This is Whisper White, so it is not basic white. I am still working my way through my Whisper White. So to make card bases, I do score once, cut once. So then I get 2 bases, and I know I'm going to use white, so that's always easy. Right, I am going to use a mat as well, and I do mean a card mat, and you will understand why in a moment. Oh, 1042, that's not bad. So basic size mat. The reason for that is because from the Pets twine combo, I've got this piece of twine and I want that to go underneath, so I don't want it to be lumpy. So I'm going to just use some ordinary sticky tape for that and tuck that under there, and then just stick that down so that the tape is on the inside, and I'm going to leave it a little bit loose, not hugely loose, but a little bit loose, probably to there, and chop, tuck in, grab, stick. So we've got a little bit of give, it's fine, that's kind of what I want. Let's just fold that so we know which if one of the sides is longer than the other, that's what I make the front. So if I haven't quite scored in half, then the slightly larger bit goes at the front. Right, so before I stick this on, I'm going to add my pennants, and I think I should be able to get 5 more or less across here. Ideally I want a little bit of a gap in between so that you can actually see the twine, but we might be covering most of it. No, it's okay. I'm actually going to stick them slightly above the twine, and they're going to be stuck on with dimensionals, but I'm only going to use 1 per thing, per flag, pennant. And this is what I mean by I've just done my nail varnish and it's smudging. I don't know if you can see that. So I need to put another top coat on. I don't know why it hasn't worked this time, but it hasn't. Because the last thing you want on the outside of your card is nail varnish scuff. Ooh, that didn't punch perfectly. Let's just trim that. I think that was right on the edge of the card I was using. There we go. Right, now I am going to start... See, I want that down a bit. Right. Let's have a think. I am going to just add a little bit of liquid glue there and pop that there. I'm just going to grab a block and I'm going to move on to do something else and come back to this once that's had a... Oh, come on. Play the game. There we go. So that now should dry. Fingers crossed. So what we do need to do other things with our card. Mostly get that out of the way, to be honest with you. Right. So I am going to have a sentiment again, and I might use thank you. I think I might use thank you. What's that one? Treat yourself. Oh, actually, treat yourself is quite nice, isn't it? So let's pop that back and use this. And this time I am going to actually pop it onto a piece of card that I'm going to trim to size rather than fussy cut. So need a scrap of card, block. And again, I'm going to ink it up with Versamark first. Although having said that, I might actually use the Highland Heather, in which case I needn't have bothered because it wouldn't stain anyway, but that's fine. So let us have, I'm going to do it there. And I've deliberately done it in quite a large space because I want to trim it down and then I want to layer it with bits of pattern paper. So I want that trimmed. Let's clear some of the debris, which as ever is building up. So let me trim this with my little chopper. That looks straight-ish, yep. So if we cut that, we can cut that there. Because what I'm now looking for is a straight edge to cut things off. So that's a straight edge, that's a straight edge, so that is a straight edge. So we can line that up with a line. And that is now a straight edge. So again, we can line that up, hold that and chop. So I've got my little stamped piece, which I'm then going to layer up, as I say, with, oh actually I can use my trimmer, my chopper still, with some of the bits of paper that we've used. So, and I'm just going to cut some random pieces. And by random I mean not necessarily the same width. there is method in my madness, honest. You will see it coming very soon. Maybe. This one I'll go from this end. And we've done that, we've done that one. Don't really want that one. Oh, we can have some of the spots as well. So I'm just using, these can be your scraps. I happen to not have any scraps from this paper yet, but these can be your scraps. And indeed should be. So what I am going to do is have my swag, which this is now more or less dry. So I'm going to have my swag, but I'm also going to have this layered over the pieces of paper. So let's pop our pendants down first. And as I say, I want them above, simply so that we get a chance to actually see the twine. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I am feeling stronger. I have a long way to go. I have to say I had a snooze before coming on here. So I did have about an hour and a half sleep in order to have enough energy to be here. So those are not beautifully spaced, but they're not bad. So we've got our pendants. Anyway, flags. And then all I'm going to do is layer these down. Let's get my seal. So I'm just going to pop some of these onto my card here. And I'm just going to be layering them up randomly. I want them to fill this sort of space and a bit. I'm actually tempted to use that one. But do remember they are double-sided so that you can actually choose to use both sides of your paper if you so desire. And they don't have to be straight, which is just as well because they're not. So that I'm going to pop there, and then I'm going to chop that off because I quite fancy the other side as well. We may need to add a bit more glue underneath in a bit, but I think I might be able to tuck under there a bit, maybe not. Or do I just leave it there? I may just leave it there, but we can use those later on something else. And then just trim again from the back, trim those pieces off so that they're even. And then this I'm going to pop up on a couple of dimensionals. Do I want it right on the edge? No, I think I'm going to go right on the edge. In which case I need to be right on the edge. In fact, I'm going to go slightly over the edge and then trim it down. I would much rather do that than have bits sticking out, even in spite of the fact it's now crooked. It's fine, it's fine. And having mentioned the resin dots, why don't we use some resin dots? Because these are Bumblebee Coastal Cabana, which is, after all, almost the same colour as Bermuda Bay, which is in the paper. No, I am going to go on top. So they are basically the same colours as the paper. So let's knock ourselves out and use them. Right, so this is then going to go onto our card base. And then that one is done. Where are we time-wise? And that, I think, is probably going to be it for today, because we've been going for nearly an hour. I will do a quick recap and stuff, so don't run away just yet. If you're in the UK, please remember that you can buy all of these items from my online store. There's a link to that below the video and over on my website, and there's a link to my website below the video. I'm doing my ordering special for March is for Clearwink of Stella, which from memory is with a £50 order. And then if you and then you have to use the host code to get that. If you order regardless, for every £25 you spend throughout the month, you will get an entry to win a mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine, and you will also get a 2 free card kits from me. So there we are. There is our final card. Let me just thank you, Sherry. Let me just make sure that you can see it properly. Yes, you can. So, as I say, just using some scraps, possibly need to put a little bit of glue under there. So let's just sort that out. Just add a little bit. There we go. So that's got that down nicely. But yeah, pendants, or whatever they're called, flags. So that's that one. Might put some stamping on the inside later. And then this is the one we did earlier. And I'm going to flip up, because of course we've got to do the cute, it's good enough for Kylie Bertucci, it's good enough for me shot. So let's do that, even though I have no makeup on and look a fright. But anyway, cute cards. So thank you very much indeed for joining me. Let me just get back so I can see your comments. Have fun with it. Don't forget to actually cut into your paper and use up the little scraps. Even, I mean, I know I made the scraps, but anyway, do use up your scraps. It's a great way of using them up. I will be back live on YouTube at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, hopefully feeling a little brighter than I do today. Between then and now, keep safe, keep well, and I will see you all again very soon, I hope. Okay, bye.